Voters in Chicago head to the polls tomorrow, and they will choose who their next mayor will be.
It's a crowded field of 9 candidates that are on the ballot, but only 4 are considered serious contenders.
Yeah, they are the incumbent mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. They are former CEO of Chicago Public Schools, Paul Vallis, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson, and Democratic Illinois Representative Jesus Choi Garcia.
I'm going to say Chewy.
You're going to go with Chewy?
I'm going to go with Chewy.
And I'm going to trust you on that.
Let's bring in political investigative reporter from our Chicago station, WBBM, Dana Kozlov. Dana, as I mentioned, quite the crowded field. How do the candidates stack up against each other heading into Election Day tomorrow?
Well, first, Lilia, it is Chewy, so you were right.
There we go.
It has been quite an interesting. Campaign so far, and people keep asking me, I've been covering the campaigns, the race. Who do you think will make it into what we believe will be a runoff? In Chicago here, you have to have 50% plus 1 of the total vote to win outright. If not, the top 2 vote getters will go into a runoff, and that is in April. And honestly, I think at this point, a lot of people believe that former schools chief Paul Vallis will be in that likely runoff, and then who that other person will be really is sort of anybody's guess right now. There have been a lot of momentum shifts between the other 3 front-running candidates over the last several weeks. Controversies have flared up and gone away. And, of course, money comes into it and advertising comes into it. So right now, as you mentioned, I think all of those 4 candidates are still considered the front-runner. Paul Vallis is believed to be somebody who will make one of those 2 runoff spots. But beyond that, it really is going to come down to how many people turn out tomorrow, how many people vote in total, and any of the other candidates could be spoilers for any of the front runners as well, because I think it's that much up for grabs still here.
Dana, let's talk about some of the issues themselves, because they could be bellwethers for the national picture. Crime, public safety has been a focus for voters there in Chicago. Is there a lot of daylight or difference between what these 4 candidates are saying about making the city safer?
There is. All 4 of the front runners believe that public safety is the #1 issue in the city right now. However, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson is, of those 4 front runners, is definitely more progressive. And he, unlike the other candidates, he would not tell me specifically if he wants to hire more police officers, because the exodus of officers has been very pronounced here. So he is considered more progressive. He definitely is running on a platform of investing more in kids, investing more in mental health, alternative responders to 911 calls, investing more in communities that, to make them more equitable. He is not running at all on a police, beef up the police sort of law and order platform. So he is definitely different from the other 2 front-running candidates in that regard. Mayor Lightfoot is sort of in the middle. She ran 4 years ago as a progressive. Then things happened with the pandemic. After the murder of George Floyd, there was looting here. She was criticized for being too harsh on Chicago police officers. And then crime, violent crime overall, is up on her watch. And so now she's sort of, in my opinion, straddling that line between being, very supportive of police and that sort of law and order component, but also still trying to maintain some of those progressive ties. And she's dealing with the popularity issue right now. So she's sort of in the middle. And then Paul Vallis is definitely law and order. He is definitely about beefing up police, bringing back retirees. And then, Congressman Garcia is sort of in the middle as well. But he is short on specifics, frankly.
Just going from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like Mayor Lightfoot has a whole lot of incumbent advantage, quite the opposite. What does she need to do? I mean, she broke a lot of barriers as the first Black woman, the first openly gay person to serve as Chicago's mayor. What needs to happen for her to keep that seat?
That's the $2 million question, because I would say it's almost too late. I think a lot of people have decided who they're going to vote for. I know there's a lot of undecided, supposedly, according to some polls out there. I think what she needed to do was put herself out there more. She has a reputation at times of being combative and obstinate, and I think she needed to, up until tomorrow, she needed to show a little more more of a cooperative spirit publicly, at least. So I think that that's over for her. I think now she just needs to continue to stay on her message, and in hopes that the voters who still support her cast their ballot for her.
Will show up. Dana Kozlov, thank you so much.
Great to talk to you.